All right, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and man, this news was even better than I just woke up to than I expected before I went to sleep, man. Apparently, 49ers assistant GM Adam Peters and Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham are the two Washington Commanders potential GM or president of football operations finalists. We have narrowed it down to those two candidates. Two of my top three, two of arguably most opinions top three candidates in this hiring cycle, man. This is beyond amazing. This is crazy. This is even better than what I hoped and expected just as of 2 weeks ago. Josh Harris and company have far exceeded my expectations. You literally can't miss with either of those two guys. And I'm also going to talk about, is there any chance that we could end up getting both? What title one would get, one title the other would get potentially. Also, the second interviews, because now that we've narrowed it down to these two guys, this second round of interviews between the two will now include limited partners Mitch Rales, David Blitzer, and Magic Johnson himself. Now Magic Johnson is pulling up to Miami to talk to these guys and see them in person, man. I'm super excited. So now we got to talk about why either guy is a home run hire for the Commanders. You literally at this point, with these two guys left, can't miss. Also, what it says about the Commanders themselves, that Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham are fighting for the same job. Like I said, I told y'all weeks ago, months ago, that the way that it's shaping up, and again, they've exceeded my expectations beyond what I thought they would be, but I told y'all like months ago, weeks ago, that we're going to be a top landing spot for a new GM and a new head coach. And if anything, we won't be fighting for other guys. Other guys will be fighting. The coaches, the GMs will be fighting to come here because the opportunity is that great. But again, they've even exceeded my expectations of what I thought when I said those things. We have two of the three top candidates pinning against each other to try to be the guy for us. How did it get to this point, man? We got to talk about all of that. Also, we got to talk about the strong advantages to both of these guys. There's a reason they're two of the top three candidates. I want to explain why and dive even deeper than I have before in previous videos, because I have some really interesting nuggets that you're going to be really excited to hear about both Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham and how they could help take us to where we're trying to go. But before we dive into all of that, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Stay tuned, because again, every little thing that may even slightly involve the Commanders, I'm coming out with a video for. Just like how Mike Vrabel, Pete Carroll got fired and Dan Quinn is also potentially available. I did a video last night breaking down whether or not we should look at those guys and the whole Don Wink Martindale situation that the Giants have going on. Should we bring them in as a defensive coordinator? So even if we're not directly tied to anybody, I'm talking about them, why we shouldn't bring certain guys in. And again, any little thing, I'm still working on so many videos for the Commanders, so stay tuned, because again, it's to the point I need to make like 2-3 videos a day at minimum. So without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get to this video. Let's get it. All right, so this all started when Ian Rapoport at Rap Sheet tweeted, sources: Commanders managing partner Josh Harris is moving rapidly and thoroughly through the process to hire a new head of football operations. And Josh Harris said that, and that's a whole nother video I'm working on. I want to break down his entire press conference and some of the most notable things he said from there, and why we should be even more optimistic as Commanders fans based on Josh Harris's message and motivation, basically. But in that press conference, one of the main things he pointed out is that we're trying to hire our front office guys, GM, president of football operations, whatever those titles may be, even if it's just one guy doing all of it. We're trying to get that out the way as quickly as possible so we can go ahead and start to work on our head coaching search, because that guy is going to run that show. We brought in all of these guys, Bob Myers, Rick Spielman, all of these people, Martin Mayhew and Marty Herney are still lingering around to find the right guy that's going to find the right head coach. Whoever we hire between Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham are going to lead the operation in finding the right head coach, defensive coordinator, draft, free agency, all of that type of stuff. Everybody we brought in the past week, a few days ago, they're coming to help find this guy. And then this guy will do the rest, basically. And I'm super excited about that. So the expected finalists include 49ers assistant GM Adam Peters and Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham, two of the top young personnel minds. And I want to emphasize young. Now, Adam Peters may not be the youngest guy doing it, but he's definitely young enough. We'll talk about that later and why that actually matters. And again, at this point, you can't miss. You're shooting 100% from the field no matter what you do. You can turn your back to the goal, and it's going to magnetize into the bucket with these two candidates that we have left that are our finalists, man. I'm super excited. Shouts out to Nikki Javala for this tweet. The Commanders are moving quickly in their search for a head of football operations, and I've narrowed it down to two candidates, those two guys. Oh, and to go back to my point, I almost forgot. Again, we're going through this quickly, but don't think that they're skipping on efficiency for the speed and how quickly they may hire this guy. Now, this is a very thorough search. That's why he's emphasizing rapid and thorough. We're doing this quickly because we're trying to go ahead and get this done. We're trying to go ahead and get this guy in place so we can go ahead and look for head coaching candidates as soon as possible, so that as soon as they're legally able to be interviewed by us, we're ready to hit the ground running and things like that. We're going to bring them in the first day they're available type of stuff. But they're not skipping on efficiency so that they can be as quick as possible. I just want to emphasize that. But again, the first round of interviews were completed yesterday. We had Adam Peters, I believe, come in Tuesday, and I think Ian Cunningham came in with other people on Wednesday. We had 3 interviews each day, and after those 6 interviews, we're now down to these two guys, one guy from Tuesday, one guy from Wednesday, and we're already getting ready for that second round of interviews as of Thursday. And I told y'all too, I love Alec Hallaby. The reason I keep saying Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham are two of the top 3 candidates is because that third one is Alec Hallaby. And if you're talking about young, super young prodigy, looks like the next best thing going for him is Alec Hallaby. But I already told y'all in my other video that he may not be the best fit. I told y'all I think that was just more of a due diligence interview just in case, but I told y'all he wasn't the best fit probably. I can easily see him going somewhere and going crazy, having ridiculous amounts of success, but with us already having Eugene Shen as our super duper analytics guy running the whole analytical show, I feel like they may prefer to go with a GM that actually scouts and watches film and does the real football stuff, the X's and O's and player evaluation and stuff like that. Alec Hallaby is arguably the top numbers guy in the NFL, one of at the very least. But I think with Eugene Shen already being that guy and already proving his value with how he helped turn the Ravens around to become what they are, the Dolphins, the Jaguars, through purely just analytics, I think they would prefer to not just double down on analytics and just do all of this analytical stuff. Yeah, we want to go analytics. We want to be very innovative when it comes to analytics and doing things that nobody else is doing. We want to be ahead of the curve in that, but we don't want to just put all of our eggs in the analytical basket and that's it. We need somebody that can actually scout these players, evaluate talent, help with developing players as well, put them in the right schemes, personnel decisions and things like that. Guys that actually watch film. That's why Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham are perfect, because now you have the best in both worlds. Eugene Shen on the analytical side and Adam Peters or Ian Cunningham to do the rest. Super excited about both of them. Both have scouting backgrounds, and that means Eugene Shen would likely remain as the highest ranking person on the analytics side. He's going to completely run that show. Expect them to continue to beef up the R&D department under him as well, though. They're going to probably bring in more analytics guys, but none of those guys will be above Eugene Shen. I've been telling y'all since we hired him, and I did that full over 30-minute breakdown of Eugene Shen's past, what he brings to the table, his advantages of hiring that guy, and what he's going to potentially do for the Commanders and why he's going to help us become a Super Bowl contender. Did a full breakdown on that. But I've been telling y'all since then, yeah, Eugene Shen is going to have a lot more power than y'all think. Josh Harris did not sign that guy for no reason. That's why I keep bringing him up so often. This guy is going to impact this team as far as decision making goes. Who we draft, who we bring in through free agency, contracts and stuff like that. And then since he's running both sides, he's running the personnel side and the player side, like in-game side, whether we go for it on fourth down in certain situations. Do we kick a field goal? Do we, try certain things on the analytical side as far as what affects us during a game, decision making wise? He's going to be running everything analytics, so this guy has a significant amount of power. Now, will he be necessarily equal or above an Ian Cunningham or Adam Peters? No, but it's probably somewhere equal, maybe a little less power. But Eugene Shen is arguably, if we hire Adam Peters or Ian Cunningham, I would argue Eugene Shen probably has the second most power as far as decision making goes, draft, free agency, stuff like that. So don't sleep on that. And then we may also bring some other analytical guys to work under him potentially, because I highly doubt he's going to run this as just a one-man show. So be on the lookout for those hires as well. But right now, Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham are priorities. So we'll work on that later. That'll come with time. But shouts out to JP Finley for this tweet, because I completely agree. Best news for Commanders fans: both Cunningham and Adam Peters have told other teams no, not interested. And that's what it's looking like right now based on reports I'm seeing. I'm not sure if that's completely factual, but that's what I'm hearing. Now they're both in the running for the Washington job. Peters probably the favorite, but they're both in it. They want this job in DC. This is very different. This is good. I feel like it's very noteworthy as well that out of the top 3 candidates that I really wanted and are widely thought of as the top 3 guys, that 2 of them are finalists. First of all, it makes me feel like, I know what I'm talking about. I had the right opinion and stuff like that. That always feels good, but it also shows the fact that we are the top landing spot. Like I've been telling y'all for weeks, people kept pushing back and saying, nah, because you have so much work to do and things like that. I'm telling y'all, we are the top landing spot. There's a reason that 2 of the top 3 candidates, arguably the third one as well, I think we said no to him rather than him saying no to us and Alec Hallaby. I think all of the top candidates were at the very least strongly interested in working for us. Whether Alec Hallaby, if we allowed him to, would have said yes, who knows? But there's strong interest there. It just shows that we are a top landing spot for elite NFL minds, both in the front office and coaching staff. You'll see when we do this head coaching search, it's going to feel a lot like this as well. We'll probably be in a situation where we could probably get a yes from Ben Johnson, arguably the top candidate, Bobby Slowick, Mike McDonald, any of those guys that we're interested in. I think we'll have our choice of the group rather than us fighting and competing with other teams for that one guy. I'm telling y'all, man, I've been warning y'all that this is the time to be extremely optimistic. And I know it sucks to put your heart on the line again as a burgundy and gold fan, Redskins, Washington football team, Commanders fan, because every time we do it, our hearts get broken. But if there were an off season to finally give that a shot again, it's this one, man. I'm super excited. Shouts out to Grant Paulson for this tweet as well. What a difference an ownership change makes. These 2 guys wouldn't have even taken an interview in DC a year ago. And that's completely true, man. Josh Harris, Bob Myers, Rick Spielman, all of these guys, they're helping so much, man. Because Bob Myers is arguably the strongest connection to an Adam Peters because they both went to UCLA together. And it's just, with Dan Snyder here and all of that chaos, we probably wouldn't even fired Ron Rivera to start with. Martin Mayhew probably wouldn't already have one foot out the door. This complete sweep is under Josh Harris. And not only Josh Harris getting rid of Dan Snyder is very helpful, but also Josh Harris has done a great job himself isolated. Even if Dan Snyder wasn't our previous owner, Josh Harris becoming our new owner is a huge advantage for us burgundy and gold fans, because he seems like he's doing everything right. He's like literally feeling like the perfect owner right now. We'll see what happens as far as results go, but like he's the right amount of influential, but also knows that, man, I'm not too good on the football side of things. Let me bring in some guys that know how to handle that. Like I'm astounded. He's beyond surpassed my expectations already. But again, we got to see what happens with results. Well, it's all fine and dandy when we're bringing in all of these top GMs, bringing in all these top head coaches. First of all, we got to secure the hires. And then secondly, doesn't matter if we go out there and only win 4 games next year again anyway. I know we have a lot of rebuild to do, but winning is all that matters at the end of the day. This is just optimism for future winning to continue to happen, or for at the very least we be better than what we've been basically since I've been alive as a Commanders fan, because again, I wasn't allowed to see any of the Super Bowl. But also, like I already mentioned in the intro, before the intro, interviews with the 49ers assistant GM Adam Peters and Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham will include limited partners Mitch Rales, David Blitzer, and Magic Johnson. Now, they were not there for the first 2 days, but they will be here for the second round of interviews, which is really cool because I keep calling them the League of Heroes. Now they've added 3 extra seats to their high tables in the dark corners of the room. Again, my whole vision of it is Josh Harris and Bob Myers, Rick Spielman is like the top decision makers. They're in the middle in the highest tables, and then it's like a dark room, and whoever's being interviewed is under a bright light. That's the only light source in the room type of situation. And then you have Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney. There's like little helpers on the side. And now in the second interview stage, you're adding Magic Johnson. He's pulling up along with Mitch Rales and David Blitzer to increase the League of Heroes size. So I'm really excited, man. Now, to me, it sounds like they're more than likely competing for the same spot, but best case scenario, dream case scenario would be for Adam Peters to take the president of football operations job and Ian Cunningham to take the GM job. Highly doubt that goes down like that. Highly doubt it. I'm just throwing that idea out there that hopefully in some extreme luck that ends up going down that way. That would be absolutely amazing. That would be more of a home run than a home run. I just couldn't see how we couldn't work out with a situation like that with that many elite minds in the same building with the same goal. I just don't see how that couldn't work, man. I just feel like we would be strong Super Bowl contenders within a couple of years just off of that alone, man. Both of these guys have experience turning several teams around very quickly, and to get both would be amazing. I highly doubt it, though. I want to keep emphasizing that. I highly doubt that happens, but that is a thing because Ian Cunningham was an assistant GM for the Bears, and maybe he would just take that slight promotion to GM rather than going all the way to president of football operations, which he probably wants to do. And of course, Adam Peters will take the president of football operations job because even though he's technically an assistant GM by title for the 49ers, he's basically doing a lot of things as if he's the GM, which takes me to the point. Let's talk about Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham separately. Let's start with Adam Peters. First of all, he's one of the 3 most important members of the organization along with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. And unlike those 2, Peters actually has decades of experience scouting personnel. John Lynch is a great GM front office guy, but Adam Peters is the one that does the majority of the scouting. The reason the 49ers are built the way that they are is mostly, you can argue, because of Adam Peters. And he's the one finding the players and deciding, okay, this guy's a great fit for what we want to do. We could take this ball of clay and develop him in this way to be a part of this part of the offense or defense, whatever. That's his thing. That's his specialty. John Lynch is great, but honestly, the thing that we want the most out of a president of football operations, Adam Peters, you can argue is better at that than even John Lynch. And shouts out to Rico's Rag for this, because I completely agree. It is no secret that the San Francisco 49ers assistant general manager Adam Peters will be at the top of a lot of teams' wish list. The progressive front office mind checks off every box you could want. And again, I want to also emphasize the fact that, yeah, he's one of the top candidates. A lot of teams want him. He's coming back here for a second interview before he even did a first interview with anybody else, I believe. That needs to be noted. Now, he's still young enough, 44 years old, to stick around for a long time, but also comes with a wealth of experience. That's why he's kind of like the perfect middle. I love Alec Hallaby. I think he's only like 35, 36 years old or something like that. He's like that super duper young prodigy. He's basically like the Ben Johnson or the Bobby Slowicks of potential GM candidates and things like that. But Adam Peters is like the perfect combination of all of that potential, still only 44 years old, but also comes with a ridiculous amount of experience. That's why you can argue, in my opinion, he's the top candidate because he has an abundance of both. still young enough to be here, to be able to stick around for a long time and turn this thing around, basically how John Lynch is for the 49ers, and I don't see him leaving for any time in the near future. I think Adam Peters could literally become that for us, man. I'm super excited about that. He served as an on-the-ground scout for 10 years before moving up the ranks to directorships and was promoted to serve as John Lynch's top lieutenant in 2021. The Niners have long been one of the best running franchises in the NFL. Working with the general manager, Peters has helped build one of the most talented rosters in football. He deserves a lot of credit for that. And then Ian Cunningham is really interesting because, first of all, he was a top candidate during last year's cycle where he interviewed for the Arizona Cardinals and Tennessee Titans GM jobs. Now, the Titans job, they just decided to go with Rand Carthen instead of Ian Cunningham, which I was surprised about. And then Ian Cunningham turned down the Cardinals job. And then so far this offseason, Cunningham is interviewed with the Los Angeles Chargers and of course us as well. But again, he turned down the Cardinals job last year, and he's already doing a second interview with us before he did a second interview with the Chargers. I feel like that's very noteworthy. Also, general manager Ryan Poles recently spoke about Cunningham and co-director of player personnel Jeff King garnering interest from GM jobs. He said, quote, "I'm extremely proud because part of my own deal is I want to produce as many GMs in this league as possible. I'm proud of them, but at the same time, those are big shoes to fill," unquote. Also, Cunningham is a really intriguing candidate because he has really clear local ties. He played at UVA. He grew up in the Virginia area. His father was a sports agent in the DC area. His father was also a first cousin of Arthur Ashe. Cunningham also learned under Ozzie Newsome and Howie Roseman. Shouts out to Nikki Javala for bringing up those connections as well. And also, and a strong advantage to having Ian Cunningham, you would have the inside intel of what the Bears may be thinking about doing as far as this Justin Fields situation, what decision they may be leaning towards. Because if they choose to trade him, having a guy in the building that has a great relationship with the Bears front office, you just heard how Ryan Poles spoke about Cunningham. The relationship is clearly very healthy there. Maybe that can make things easier on us, where if the Bears are willing to trade that top pick, we'd probably get somewhat of a discount compared to other teams. Well, first of all, with a second overall pick, so it would cost us less in general compared to other teams already. But maybe Ian Cunningham being here could sweeten that deal as well. Or if you want to go for Justin Fields, maybe we could get a slight discount on that as well. Just a, a friendly little, that's my partner over there, let me help him jumpstart what he got going on over there type of discount. Because again, he said he wants to have as many successful GMs in the NFL as possible. So maybe he would have a little soft spot for us if we were to hire Ian Cunningham to allow us to take one of whatever the Bears don't want to have, either the first overall pick or Justin Fields. Maybe that will help sweeten the deal for us. Now, of course, I don't want Justin Fields for anything higher than a third round pick. And even the third round pick, I'm a little iffy. I'm not going to lie. But you never know. Ian Cunningham can help that situation in any way possible. Now, also, for me, it's a home run hire no matter who we hire between the two. But if you're asking me, Adam Peters is probably my number one. Probably. I mean, first of all, the Athletics annual NFL survey, agent survey from last year, well, done August 31st, John Lynch and Adam Peters were both named as top 5 NFL evaluators. Like, when it comes to all NFL evaluators in the NFL, and each team has multiple of them, both John Lynch and Adam Peters were voted in the top 5. And that shows you that Adam Peters, again, has had a lot more power than a lot of people think. He's not coming here to just run part of the show. He probably wants the entire thing because, again, like I said earlier, John Lynch has gained more and more power. Like, it seems like every year with the 49ers. And now he's almost up there right under the owner, it seems like. And with him getting promotions, that means Adam Peters, his right hand man, has been gaining more power each and each season as well. And that's why it's incredible that two guys can coexist and both be considered top 5 NFL evaluators on the same team. Because it's kind of like, well, how can both of them? Somebody has to deserve most of the credit. But again, if you want to give credit to the scouting side of it, the player personnel side, I think if anything, Adam Peters gets that credit. And just look at the 49ers and what they've accomplished, dog. There's no reason that they shouldn't be able to have 2 top 5 evaluators with the product they've been able to put on the field, having all of those Pro Bowlers and all pros left and right all around the field. Also, as part of the NFL agent survey that happened January 1st, there are a lot of glowing reviews on Adam Peters. And again, the article that I spoke on earlier came on August 31st of the 2023. This one is from January 1st. And in this article, an NFL agent, an anonymous one, said, "I think that if a team is looking this year, to put it bluntly, you would be dumb to look anywhere else. I think he's the best in the business," unquote, talking about Adam Peters. Agents also voted Peters among the league's best talent evaluators and front office leaders they trust the most. Rare mentions for non-general managers. Very interesting, because he's technically an assistant GM, not a full-blown GM. He's being placed up there not only on the same level as actual GMs, but also higher than some of those guys, most of them, anything. He tied for first in the future GM to watch category, which is really cool. Like, as far as guys that may potentially go somewhere else and become a full-blown GM, he tied for first place in that survey. And then also another agent said, quote, "Good, bad, or ugly, Adam Peters does it the right way. He treats people with compassion, even when it's a bad situation. He's always honest. You know where you stand. I'm surprised he has not gotten a general manager job to this point," unquote. Those are huge reviews right there, because to have a healthy relationship with agents around the NFL honestly just makes us immediate top free agency destinations. I've already done a full breakdown and explanation of why that is so, how we go from there to this, but just know that Adam Peters having this healthy of a relationship and being this likable and trustworthy from NFL agents only increases our chances of being able to build this organization the right way, especially if you're talking about through free agency, man. Super excited about that. And don't forget, Adam Peters has gone crazy twice, man. Crazy. He helped build the Broncos to their Super Bowl 50 roster. He was a big part of that. And then he also helped Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch build the current 49ers right now. I mean, this guy, everywhere he goes, they become great. Whether they were great there before he got there or not, he's able to turn these guys into great, or these teams into great organizations, man. Top to bottom, consistent winners, deadly threats as Super Bowl contenders, all of that type of stuff. And you may also even want to give him a little bit of credit as a scout for the Patriots from 2003 to 2008, my fault, early on in Bill Belichick's career for the Patriots. You can honestly give him a lot of credit there, because we see now Bill Belichick as a talent evaluator without Adam Peters hasn't been looking so good. I mean, he's had help from other GMs as well, but that 2003-2008 era was definitely like a big foundation that was set for the Patriots becoming the Patriots that we saw win all of those Super Bowls. You may even want to give Adam Peters credit there. I mean, after what he's done for the Broncos, for that Super Bowl 50 roster and the current 49ers roster, looking back, you're kind of like, well, maybe Adam Peters did do more work than we originally thought. That's really interesting. Also, shouts out to N. Greenberg, one of those Washington reporters out there. And this is one guy that's been skeptical of how the Burgundy and Gold have done things over the years. But he said, even recently, he tweeted, quote, "I'm usually skeptical, but I actually like what Washington is doing. It's a rebuild. It is a rebuild, but it's a rebuild with the right people in the right spots. That's what's been lacking in the past," unquote. There is a difference from what's going on right now from other off seasons where the Commanders, where we've tried to be optimistic and look at things with the glass half full. No, this is the first time since I've been alive as a Burgundy and Gold fan that we have every right to be optimistic about our future, man. Shouts out to Josh Harris as an owner. I'm super excited. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Stay tuned, because I'm keeping you updated on every little thing going on with the Commanders. That's including so much. Of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about Adam Peters and Ian Cunningham. If you had to choose between the two, who do you prefer? Or if you don't prefer those two, would you prefer that we tell those guys no and then go and look for another guy, interview another guy second time or whatever? Let me know your opinions on everything. Whether you agree or disagree with me, let me know. I really appreciate y'all. Appreciate all the support, man. Leave a like on the way out. Leave a comment, even if it's just a little emoji on the way out. It helps the channel so much. I'm doing my best to try to read and reply to as many comments as possible, but as you see, super busy. I appreciate y'all. Working on more videos, coming out with probably like another 2 today. I'm out.